Space Marines that should never be Primaris.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
This might be shown as it looks like I don't like Primaris and all that, but to be honest, if we looked at Primaris models in isolation without the lore, the models look fine. And sometimes they do a better job than the previous model, with some exceptions of course. But in this video, it is about the lore and how it doesn't make sense for Space Marine chapters to upgrade into Primaris at all.
That is one big pile of shit.
For now, I've chosen 3 Space Marine chapters that should never be Primaris in the first place, lore-wise. Maybe I'll make a part 2 of this, but for the meantime, let's see how this video goes and I might consider making more in the future. Now, before I start, I will do the most annoying thing that every YouTuber does, and don't worry, I'll make it short.
Fuck off!
I have now a YouTube membership and other platforms like Patreon and Ko-Fi. Consider this as if you enjoy my stuff, of what I create, then feel free to support it in any way, shape or form. Personally, Ko-Fi might give you some pretty good options, like if you just want to donate only or consider a subscription, then Ko-Fi is a place for that. But if you want to do a subscription-based support, then you can do either in Patreon or on YouTube membership with some additional treats. Plus, I'll bring your guys' names up in the end of my videos as an appreciation of your support. It ain't much, but it's honest work. And if you guys don't donate, that's fine. At least I can offer you some coffee at some point.
I'll give you a fucking bone, you prick! Where's my fucking money?
Thank you so much for watching, even though you guys fucking skipped it.
You worthless piece of shit.
And let's get started. Black Templars, the actual popular cousin than the popular poster boy thinking he's special.
I'm better. I am better.
With the Black Templars, they have a long history when it comes to them. On the basic traits, death to the mutant, the alien, and the heretic, overzealous space marines for the god emperor. And then, suddenly, they became Primaris because Gilliman said so? I'm not gonna lie, that's kinda gay, and I don't think that's how Black Templars work like that.
I am not gay.
And I got news for you. That means you're gay.
You see, from the foundation of Space Marine chapters, they are an independent organization and they get to choose what is the best course for the chapter. So, if a Space Marine chapter says no to the Primaris, there's that. That's the end of the story. But let's be honest. With GW and with its poor authors trying so hard to change the Black Templars to the point it's just fanfiction. Like fuck, they were even fine having Eldar escorting them out of Cadia holding hands together like they're buddies in the Gathering Storm books. Excuse me? Death to the alien, maybe? Maybe some consistency needed? Hello?
This is worthless.
Anyways, my point is that Black Templars would never pick Primaris. And even if there was Gilliman that just existed trying to tell Helbrecht to take Primaris, he will still not be convinced.
Don't care, still don't care, I don't care.
Why? First off, the Emperor's finds craftsmanship, the gene seed. For the last 10,000 years, the Black Templars believed nothing is more pure than the Emperor's finest works since the Great Crusade. And the whole point with 40k as a setting is that there is no progress in technology, and any relic weapons or scientific tools must be guarded well, or else you will lose it forever. But then GW with his shit writers contradict that setting of what 40k is meant to be, so they bring in Cole out of nowhere and he's smart out of nowhere and just have Primaris in his backyard in Mars and no one's checking and they just came out of nowhere, and boom, scientific progress and everything is happily ever after and going well. Even with that contradiction, the Black Templars still won't accept Cole's works like the Primaris, with one simple saying: nothing can beat the works better than the Emperor. And they are the most zealous on that. Anything that is tampered with is just heretical work. Like, which one are you picking? The virgin cyborg robot or the Chad human god? Take your pick. Honestly, during 8th edition, I expected a little bit of a civil war in the Imperium, and it would have made sense. But here's another shoehorn theme they added, which was like, now Space Marines can upgrade into Primaris Marines, just because. Just because. Like, there's no civil war, there's no stakes with this drastic change. Nah, no needed, because the poster blue boy written with poor authors just because they tell you he's great diplomat and not showing. I know some people might bring this up, how a pocket crusade of Black Templars who were Space Marines killed the Primaris with the Custodes along them. Sure, it sounds based, but that doesn't change the fact that majority of the Black Templars, or most likely all of them, just became Primaris, which is pretty fucking gay, not gonna lie. Different topic. This is how GW and its authors works every time they do this shit's lore. So, They bring something out of the blue, he gets heated, and then because of that fuck up, they rush or try to make a shitty book from the shitty authors just to make something up without giving a double look if it's supposed to lore properly, and they make shit up because they can.
There is no Easter Bunny, there is no Tooth Fairy, and there is no Queen of England.
They did it in the Gathering Storm with Primaris, they did it with the female custodies with that animation after the Codex, and people still think it's not official because they haven't brought the models. They have done it with the Prior Nexus, where the Sisters of Battle are in a Necron world.
You can't make this shit up!
And somehow they are not affected by the Necron null technology. And do you know why? It is because the authors put an obvious MacGuffin to show how the Sisters of Battle still use psychic powers, even in the Necron world, which that breaks the lore in different levels.
That is one big pile of shit.
Whenever there's a contradiction, there's new lore based on a new novel because they can and thinking they fixed it without knowing the long-term consequences. Fuck it about being consistent, I guess.
The short-term gain hides the long-term cost.
From all that combined together, in order to say is, Black Templars would never take Primaris because they are zealots. Anything that is not human or not like them is to be burned at the stake. They are an independent chapter with most likely they have about 10,000 Marines at their disposal during crusades all over the place in the galaxy. And just to have heretical works from Cole that fucks with the Emperor's works, not only is insulting to the Emperor in the Black Templar's eyes, but Cole's touches that gene seed that is sacred and pure that is not allowed to be touched in the first place. A chapter that holds its cards close to its chest and being the most secretive when it comes to the 40k universe. Sure, us spectators outside of the universe, we know their history, but in the universe, not all of them know about their dark secrets. Even with this chapter, it doesn't make sense. The reasons are straightforward, and that is, they don't trust anything that is not Dark Angel, or not part of them, and not in their inner circle. They keep a tight lip of their dirty secret about the Fallen, and if someone does find out, let's say they will have a little private talk. Of course, the aesthetic of the Dark Angels brings the definition of a space knight, but make it grim dark. This is not just the Dark Angels, but it's also the successor chapters of the Dark Angels. But all of these successor chapters and the Dark Angels, they do tend to work close together, almost like they're working as a legion. The story how the Dark Angels got Primaris is they just let them in, to put it simply. They just got reinforcements of Primaris, and without any suspicion or killing them outright or putting massive restrictions of these out of the blue troops that were meant to help the chapter. But instead, they just let them in. And told them all about the Fallen in some successor chapters like it's candy, and hopefully no one talks about it at all. Definitely. I mean, coming from these shit writers, they can't make anything mysterious anymore. It must be everything must be told, or else we don't have a quote-unquote interesting story. After this, it gets messy, like the Lion coming back and Astro bringing Caliban back as a warped planet, and then the Blood Angels saw the planet Caliban, and they have the Lion with them, which the Lion joins the Dark Angels and has some Marines as his personal god, who were the Fallen, but they were redeemed by the Lion as the Risen. Something along that word. I am mostly paraphrasing because it's a mess, plus the unnecessary part where Space Marines have like a love affection with each other, which is pretty fucking gay.
Disgusting!
And also it's Mike Brooks, so what do you expect? Going back to the basics though, there are two ways I can see this going. Either they outright decline Primaris as they're allowed to since they're an independent chapter because they don't trust it. Or if they do accept it, but it will go in a different angle, like either it will bring them in and then delete all the Primaris to use the gene seed for the next coming Marines and train them properly, how they like to have it, or they will kill them outright because they don't trust them, and since the gene seed is not from the Emperor himself, it might be a suspicion that Primaris might be Gilliman's spy and tries to get the Dark Angel secrets and more. As I said before, these Dark Angels are the most paranoid, suspicious-looking motherfuckers in the West. Like, they won't trust anything and anyone that is not Dark Angels or part of their inner circle. This is how restricted they should be. For a butterfly effect, I think they will decline the offer of Primaris because it's easier for the enemy in their eyes to be outside of the castle than to be in the inside.
That could have killed me! Hey guys! We missed! Get another!
Because if you invite them peacefully, even though you slaughter them, there might be a chance they might bring in more reinforcements, so I think the first option is much better when it comes to the Dark Angels. They are secretive, they don't want nor like to share their history with others unless it's in their restricted inner circle. Their dark past of the fallen must never be shown. Unless it's the fucking shit books like the Arcs of Omen and the Lion Book. Yeah, let's say the secret is out now, it's everywhere, and it's just a fucking mess, which the writers have done it poorly. As a finale and a short part for this video, for the Carcharodons, it is plausible to accept Primaris, but I would go in an opposite direction, as they might not want that. As we understand with Carcharodons from the Badab War, they are self-sufficient when it comes to their equipment and vehicles, and most predates to the Horus Heresy weaponry. But to upgrade from a Space Marine to a Primaris might be redundant, because all the tools and weaponry you're trying to maintain is now useless, because you just got bigger and nothing will fit anymore. So, say goodbye to that Mark III armor that gave some useful protection, now you have to wear soy armor to wear only. And they do tend to work alone, as they are from the very edge of the galaxy serving the Imperium, so to get outside help for them is limited, or they don't get help at all. So that's where I can see they might not accept Primaris, because there's no point to change where the stuff you already have is working and you're maintaining it for the longest time. Then again, as I mentioned before, GW and its current authors, which are dog shit, they ain't going to ruin them one way or another. So it won't be surprising if they ruin the Carcharodons as they are, because they have to be Primaris. Even worse, maybe they will slide in some woke elements into it and make the chapter master gay, or insert a female shipmaster like Lotara Sarin and show how much of a boss bitch she is, and how she talks down to the Carcharodons chapter master like it's nothing. Shit like that is possible. But who knows? Things can get worse from that. Anyways. As I mentioned before, this might be a single isolated video, or I'll make extra part videos in the future with well-known chapters like the Grey Knights and the Flesh Terrors, and break down a little more of how and why they won't accept Primaris in the first place. But then again, it depends on the support of this video and the general support from my donation platforms like Patreon, Ko-Fi, and YouTube's memberships. For now, as I said before, if you like what I make, feel free to support it. And you have a couple options where you want to pick from. That is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to check my Discord or my YouTube's community page for any updates, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye my brothers, and take care.